Hey guys, this is One Giant Leap. Thank you all for tuning in. Today's video is going to be about the Mystic nerfs and the general balance patch that came into effect a couple days ago. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, why did you wait? Why didn't you do the video when some of the stuff was announced? Well, first and foremost, I wanted to wait so that I could fairly evaluate some of these changes. And frankly, after day one, I knew that I was going to be emotional about it, and I wanted to take some time to collect my thoughts so that I could put something together in a productive fashion. With that said, yeah, the last couple of days, I'm not sure how much more productive I'm going to be, but we're going to try our best. For those of you who might be seeing this video, for one of my videos for the first time, who am I? Well, currently, I am a mod on the subreddit and the Discord. I'm a member of the SP Elites team. We do, thousands of donations a week. Currently, as you can see, I'm ranked 73 in the world. So I'd like to think, at least on some level, I can speak to what has been done here. This is only going to be about the nerf and balance, not about the big feature update related stuff that was dropped yesterday. And I want to say that, guys, no matter what your thoughts are, let me really start off this whole diatribe by stating, do not attack Steve or Buck. Do not attack the community developers. First and foremost, guys, they're probably not the ones who are making the balance changes in the first place. And second of all, their community outreach. I've seen a lot of justified anger over the past several days, and I say justified. But what's not justified is lobbing personal attacks at the guys whose jobs are to do outreach to this community. I want you to think about this for a second. Buck and Steve are players. Even if they think these changes are incredibly stupid, it doesn't matter, because their jobs come first, and their jobs are to represent this game. Asking them to come out and admit that things were screwed up, it'd be like Mel Gibson's publicist after he went on that drunken rant, coming out and saying, oh yeah, my client's a drunken asshole. It's like, well, just because people knew that doesn't mean you get to say it, because it's your job not to say it. So please, 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 lay off Buck and Steve. Go after the nameless, faceless people behind the scenes who have done the balance patches. So first, let me just take a little time to break down this nerf itself, and it's been talked to death, but we knew that Powerbind and Purify were going from 1 cost to 2. In addition to that, their maximum number of targets now scales with their level. 2 targets for level 2, 3 for level 3, so on and so forth. But the worst of all is that the range has been reduced to 1, basically the size of a finger if you're playing on your phone. Now, you could argue a lot of things. You could argue that one of these things was justified, that none of these things were justified, but I think it's a very tough point to make that all of these changes were justified. Increase the cost? Okay. Limit the targets by level? Okay. Limit the range? I think that's the worst one, but okay. But all three, all you've done is take these 2 cards out of the game. Let's look at Purify. We have a 2 cost. A 2 cost which stops, what does it stop? Poison? Mind Control. So it's still a decent counter for Mind Control, I'll give it that. It's a 2 cost counter to Cyborg Kenny and to the Mind Control spell. But that's not enough to warrant play. It needs to be able to stop Poison, and right now Poison must have like 6 times the range of this card. It's not playable. It just isn't. Then you have Powerbind, and that's the same problem. Powerbind with its range reduction, you're never going to hit 2 units. So what you're asking your players to do is to spend 2 energy to temporarily nullify the ability of 1 card. It's real tough decision. Should I nullify Stand of Many Moons for 40 seconds? for 2 cost? Or should I kill him for 4? Should I nullify with Thunderbolt? Should I nullify Mecha Timmy? 2 cost? For 40 seconds? Or should I just Thunderbolt him to death? The answer is obvious. And then, of course, the cream on top of this shit sandwich, they nerfed regen again. Oh my goodness. Because that's what we needed. We needed a rare regen to not even sniff the poison damage of the poison spell itself, let alone even be a halfway decent 10-second counter to Alien Queen Red's permanent poison. But I was told, Brad, you're overreacting. Just because you're a Mystic player, you're overreacting. They're going to be buffing epics and legendaries. Look at what they did to Stand of Many Moons. I am sure when it's all said and done, you know, the epics are going to be great, and Mystic's going to have some assassins, and look, they've got 3 legendaries. It's going to be excellent. And as I'm sure you all are aware, it was a baby buff. It was basically nothing on everyone except for Stand of Many Moons, who got the steroid treatment. There's nothing wrong with giving legendaries the steroid treatment, but you gave one legendary the steroid treatment and nothing else. But tons of people have talked about this. So let's just assume, guys, let's assume that all of these were justified. So for some of you out there, and from the response I've seen, it probably isn't many, but some of you that feel these changes were 100% justified. Okay, fine. Let's assume that, and let's grant that to you. Let's take another step then and look at the way this was handled. Short notice, first and foremost. Notice of Nerf, with the Nerfs coming the beginning of the very next week. No in-game notice. I know from personal accounts that I've seen that there are people, a couple of people I saw who joined Reddit, a couple who were on Facebook, guys who just didn't see this coming. Yeah, they didn't know. Now, I'm sure some of you are going, oh, well, we clearly don't take the game that serious. But should you have to? Should you have to be a regular user of Discord or Reddit to find out this type of news, or to regularly visit the Ubisoft forums? No, because every other game creator puts this in-game as a notification. That is the basic level of common courtesy that you can have to your users. Oh my god, frustrating. And then to top all this off, they do this mid-season. We were smack dab in the middle of a Legend season. They announced that the Legend season is going to be over on March 8th. Why not just wait till then? Now, drop it mid-season, while there's people in Legend right now who can't possibly hope to compete. And let's talk about that. Competing. Competition. At the highest level. I think anybody who plays this game for more than a week or so can figure out that the leveling system is punishing. This game is a Clash copy in a lot of ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of the great mobiles are not clones, but they take features of other mobiles, so I'm not criticizing them for that. But it's a Clash game that adds even more. It's not just coins, it's, card copies, materials. Leveling in this game is extremely punishing. And so some players have taken to a balanced strategy where they try to level up a lot of different things so that they have options. And guess what? Those players are in low ranks right now. For anybody who's trying to get to Legend, for anybody who's trying to push far into this game, the strategy that's become clear is I need to pick a couple of themes, and then I need to specifically pick cards within those themes, and I need to level them as best I can and focus my energy and my team requests and my time on that. Now, of course, taking team requests into account, you probably go, well, since I'm only leveling 2 things, I'm donating stuff from everything else, because of course you have to. You want to get good cards, you got to give good cards. I've said it right from the start, and I'm sure anyone who's on a decent team knows that. So you have people right now who've been put into a position. I would argue Mystic is, if not dead, it is certainly on life support. You have people right now in top Legend who have Mystic as one of their only 2 competitively viable leveled themes. Now, in terms of free-to-play versus spending money, any game like this, any mobile game period, is going to give an advantage for players who pay. That's just the facts of the mobile game world at this point in time. But there's ways to balance this. And who am I? Am I an ideal customer for Red Links? Probably. I talked in my first few PvP videos about how garbage the special offers usually are. And despite that, against my own logic, partially for my own entertainment value, maybe I've got more money than sense, maybe I just want some YouTube views, whatever. I've done multiple special offers and multiple special offers off camera before I started doing YouTube. And so, given the money I've spent up to this point, I am an ideal customer for Red Links. And despite the several $100s I have, I'm just barely able to sustain myself with 3 themes. Now, that sounds ridiculous, and I'm sure you're going, oh, Brad, I'd love to have that problem. Well, this is kind of a problem, isn't it? I leveled up Mystic, Adventure, and Fantasy because I was indecisive, and I wanted the ability to play multiple strategies, and I didn't want to decide on one, so I figured, you know what, I'll support the game creators, I'll put some money in. And I had 3 viable deck options: Adventure Fantasy, Adventure Mystic, and Mystic Fantasy. And now my options have basically been knocked down to 1. And I don't have a lot of card switch viability within that. I don't have a lot of different options. I can't change out something for a Gunslinger Kyle or a Pirate Ship Timmy because I don't have those leveled. I can only afford to level certain specific cards within those themes. And this is after spending several $100s. I'm fortunate that this nerf hurt me, but didn't cripple me. But there are tons and tons of players out there who have been absolutely crippled. People who have stopped playing, people who are pissed, people who aren't going to be spending money, and I can't blame them. And if I was a player who had gone free to play, or even a moderate amount of money spent, a couple $100s doesn't get you 3 themes to top legend play. It just doesn't. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know if I'd still be playing. So, another way that this was handled, Mystic offers. Talk about the scummiest shit that you could have possibly pulled. You release Cupid Cartman. You do 2 straight weeks with 3 or 4 different Cupid Cartman related special offers. I bought in $50 worth. I was excited. I was going to play me some Cupid Cartman in one of my Mystic decks. I don't have much interest in doing that now. I have a teammate who spent $200 on Cupid Cartman packs. This is a guy who spent a lot more money than me and a lot more money than the overwhelming majority of players. And again, you might say, oh, his own fault, stupid, it's $200 on a mobile game. Well, that's how he chose to spend his money, guys. It is what it is. But what he didn't choose to spend his money on was $200 on a single card for enjoyment and to support the creators. A card that was supposed to have competitive viability. And now, the theme it's a part of is almost worthless. He said to me that he's not spending any more money, and I believe him. So this is a guy that went over $1,000 in 3 months! And I believe that he's telling the truth when he says he's done. So you just cost yourself, Red Links, a multi-$1,000 annual spender right there. That is insanity to me. Now, I've seen some defenders out there. I've seen some defenders of everything. But you know what? All of this would be okay if the players were compensated. At the bare minimum, the lowest of the low, throwing us a bone, would have been giving the gold back for the level ups for Purify and Powerbind and Regen. It wouldn't have given people all their money back. It wouldn't have given them their time back. but it would have been something that the creators could point to and say, hey, on those particular cards that we did nerfs on, we did give you something. They didn't do that. They didn't do what I think would have been a more reasonable response, which would have been allowing for some form of refund on silver mats, allow people to invest in other cards, or ability to change over some of those silver mats so that they could viably level up a different theme. Still doesn't make up for all the requests that they had to do to level their Mystic stuff, but it would have been something. Instead, we get nothing. Nada, zero. In one of the most shameful and ridiculous answers I have ever seen from a developer. On stream, and I quote, well, you got to play those cards. You got to play those OP cards. And that was your reward. That was your compensation, guys. You got to play those OP cards, who were only OP in the first place due to developer decision. But of course, when it came to the quit lockers who were supposed to be punished, no. That was the developer's fault, but we can't punish the players for that, because that was our fault. Nah, more like your whales were quit lockers, and you didn't want to piss them off. You can't come out and say that, though. Tons of other mobiles give compensation for nerfs. The biggest one, of course, is Hearthstone. For those of you who don't play Hearthstone, they have a legendary, epic, rare, common system as well. The difference there is no leveling. You get one legend and guess what? You've got it. That's the only copy of it you need. The only other copy you can get is a shiny copy, just to give people something to collect. And that's fine, because it's something for the paying players to get that a lot of free players don't have, and that's okay. It doesn't affect the game at all. But on top of all of this, you can get to the top ranks of Hearthstone. Spending, I think recently they said, maybe $150 every time a set drops, which is every couple of months. And don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money. But it's still infinitely cheaper to get to the top of the Hearthstone ranks than it is to get anywhere close to the top of this game. And it's just fact. When people say other games out there are more pay to win than this, well, that just means there's some insane games that I haven't encountered. This game is very pay to win. That's just factual. But there's opportunity for free to plays to compete if they sit and they focus on a couple of themes. And Red Links just robbed the player's ability to do that. So what does Hearthstone do for its players? Well, Hearthstone needs to balance too. I see that excuse a lot. Oh, do you not want the game to be balanced, Brad? Yes, I want the game to be balanced. Obviously I do. I'm a competitive player, so of course. And do I want more regular balance patches? Yes, I do. Well, Hearthstone does that type of thing too. And in the case of Hearthstone, you can craft whatever cards you want. The way it works is under normal circumstances, a legendary card can be what they call dusted. That means you scrap the card and you get an amount of dust back, and you get 400 dust. And 1,600 dust gets you a legend, meaning at any point you can scrap 4 legends for a legend of your choice. Not a horrible system. Some people say that should be better. But when a nerf happens, guess what? You get 100% of your dust back. 1,600. Your favorite legendary gets nerfed, guess what? Toss it in the trash heap, get yourself a new one. Or you can choose to keep it. If you decide, you know what, the card's been nerfed, but I still think I want to play with it, you have that option too. A lot of player freedom there. And despite this 100% player compensation for nerfs, Hearthstone players are still up in arms about the amount of money they have to spend to be competitive in a game where the devs are significantly more friendly to the player base than they are here, and in a game that is significantly cheaper. Compensation needs to happen. I'm amazed that there hasn't been a mention of that in the Discord, in the Reddit. There's either been no answers or dodging those questions. It's sad. It's really sad. And I just want to take a minute here to look at some of the general community response. I'm not going to scroll through a million different Reddit threads. I'm sorry, a million different Discord posts, but I will, I will show off the Reddit for a moment. And some of the posts from this past week. We've got Pharaoh's video, which was excellent if you haven't seen it, the unofficial Red Links interview. Red Links after refunds, because apparently some people were so pissed off that they were going through Apple and Google Play for refunds. I'm not doing that. I don't advocate for doing that. It's just a fact that it's happened. People talking about legitimate feedback, as they've asked for. If you're going to nerf a card, here's what you need. People asking for compensation. More memes about players being fucked. The last patch. Blah, blah, blah. Red Links viewing Reddit on fucking fire. It's just one community. But I saw a lot of anger on the Discord, on the Facebook as well. Now I want to take a moment and talk about the developer response. So they posted this announcement on the Ubisoft forums, and they go into some detail here about, regarding Purify and the reasons for the balance and power bind and general talk about balance. As I said earlier, there's nothing wrong with balance. It's simply the manner this was handled and the lack of just compensation for the players. And of course, in terms of those requests, there have been many. And in terms of actually meeting those, or even giving some semblance of an answer to that, no, nothing. They either ignore the questions or dodge the questions. The closest we've come to a real response has been what we got from Steve in a developer stream a couple of streams ago, when he stated, oh, no, you get to play the OP cards. That's your compensation. Absolutely mind-boggling. I'm really blown away by the developer behavior this update, because, really, who are you catering to? Well, obviously people who didn't spend anything on Mystic might be happy with this update. Maybe the Ultra Whales, who can afford to level all 4 themes and have multiple options for themselves, but that's not very viable for most players. And guess what? You can't just cater to your Ultra Whales. You have to also cater to your moderate spenders, because without them, your game dies. Players are woken up to this type of thing. Players are woken up to this type of abhorrent behavior by developers. There's too many mobiles. There's too much entertainment out there for players to sit back spending money on a game that's going to treat its people like this. If you go into a diner and you order a burger and you take a few bites of it, and you're like, man, this is delicious, and the waitress comes over and she spits on it, are you going to be expected to finish it? To keep eating? To order another burger? To come back there in the future? No, and in fact, I'm sure a lot of people would say you'd be pretty foolish to do so. This is unacceptable. I'm sure some of you may notice that my logo has changed. It has changed to Zen Cartman getting fucked, and I think that is an apt analogy for this entire goddamn process. But again, I'm amazed by this behavior, because who are you making happy with this? Maybe pure sci-fi users, but in terms of the buffs, legendaries were supposed to be amazing, epics were supposed to be amazing, and the only thing that is now is Stand of Many Moons. So you pissed off your whales, who were ready to have their high-level epics and legendaries actually mean something. You clearly pissed off all your Mystic players by shitting all over their primary strategy. You pissed off your lower rank players, who, if they don't have Stand of Many Moons, are going to lose some really bad matchups. And that's going to be really tough for them. And then you pissed off your rank 35 to 50 people, who inevitably, every Mystic player right now in Legendary, who's not a freaking whale like me and can switch over to adventure fantasy or other themes in general, is going to tank their rank down to 35 or 40 or 45 next season so that they can farm packs and try to rebuild. And that's if you're lucky, Red Links. That's if those players are still playing. So you better hope. The best you can hope for right now is that you've ruined Silver Shield play for your next competitive season. Ridiculous. So what now? Well, what do you do now? Well, what do I do now? So in terms of future spending, I mean, I can tell you 100% I'm done with special offers. Done with special offers. Done with those packs. Unless something significant changes, I'm not going to be doing that to myself. I might spend a little money on PvP refreshes still. I might not. I'm still on the fence. I'm still pissed. And the behavior of the developers the last 2 days while I've been trying to marinate on this has not been encouraging at all. What's next for you guys? Well, it depends on where you are. If you're free to play, nothing probably changes for you unless you're free to play Mystic, in which case you have a lot of rebuilding to do. If you're a moderate spender, the same might be true, assuming Mystic was one of your primary strategies here. But even if you're not, even for all you guys out there who say, oh, Mr. Level 5 Zen Cartman's just full of salt. Well, how long till they come for you? How long until they come for your deck, for your strategy? How long until they make an announcement that you may have 5 days to prepare for, that your shit's gonna get nerfed into the ground? And guess what their policy on compensation is? Oh, wait. I forgot one. Oh, there it is. That's the policy. So even if you're sitting out there sitting pretty as an adventure sci-fi player right now, remember, constant balances are coming. And you could be next. Are you going to be the one, want to be the one sitting there pissed off because you didn't take a stand now and help out your fellow brethren, your fellow phone destroyer players, and take a stand against this development team and say that it's not acceptable? The developer stream is in a couple of hours, and so you might be seeing this video by the time it's too late to say anything on that stream. But it's not too late to voice your feedback. As they say on the Ubisoft forums, give your feedback. That can be done via Reddit. That can be done via Discord. As I'm sure you guys noticed by that Reddit, and I'm sure you may notice if you've been on the Discord, we are not Nazi mods. We are not moderators who shut down negative discussion about this game. I hope that Reddit in the future is filled with a wave of positive front page posts, because that means something's being done well. But right now, the negativity is warranted, and either I nor my fellow mod team are going to be shutting down that discussion. So make your voices known. If you're there for the dev stream tonight, continue to ask your questions. Where is fair compensation for the players? Should we expect that there will be no compensation for players in the future when inevitably other themes get nerfed? Is this something you believe is acceptable in an age where so many mobile games actually treat their players like they give a shit? I've ranted for long enough about this subject, guys. I'm sure you're sick of hearing my voice, so I will leave it on that. But make your feedback known and think long and hard before you commit a single extra cent to the developers who clearly up to this point have shown that they do not value their player base. Namaste, friends. Have a good one.